After 3, we'll bow. All right? You ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. It's close enough. It's close enough.
That was good on my screen. It's cool.
It's close enough. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of TeaTime. This time around, I have a very special guest. This is Switch2501. I'm going to ask you in a minute why you have those numbers. But if you want to check out Switch, go over to twitch.tv/Switch2501. This little Lalafell here, this adorable Lalafell, is actually a Final Fantasy XIV content creator on Twitch. And yeah, you have a massive love for the game, don't you?
I do. This is true. Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, I've been a 14 player since PS3 release back in the day.
The PS3.
PS3, back when loading screens were horrible and moving between places just took forever.
Yeah, I saw a graphics comparison recently of the graphical fidelity. I was like, wow, was it really that bad?
Yeah, it really was.
It looked
like the PS4
RuneScape
update was quite
something.
nice, but yeah, it was pretty rough. Like I've since transitioned over to a decent PC rig now, so
Ooh, nice.
It's not so bad.
Nice. I thought you might have stayed in the realms of PlayStation on like PS4 or something.
No, I took the leap and went for the PC, but I'm still using my PS4 controller to play the game. I'm a very much a controller player rather than a mouse and keyboard kind of people.
Interesting. There is a subset of the community that's like all for the whole, controller usage, and some people are like, how do you even do that? How do you fit things on a controller? And they don't. Usually they don't know about the crossbar system. But
no, they don't. The expanded crossbar as well. There's so many different like combinations of button press that once you've programmed where your buttons are, it's just second nature. You can just. I think the trickiest thing for me is selecting people to heal when I'm on healer, because that's usually just up and down on the D-pad, and that takes a while to get to the person, especially if they're like, they've been hit by a random tank buster or something, and you've got to panic and go and sort of tab down halfway through your list.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's multiple ways of healing, isn't there? Like, a lot of people do the whole click and heal thing. I personally, on my keyboard, I just have my function keys set up, so it's much quicker for me to press F2 and then suddenly target the second person there or whatever, and then heal them that way. But I've done both the click healing, which is slower, which is kind of the sort of stuff I do for the casual content. And if I'm in an extreme, I'll be like, right, function keys, snap target someone. Oh, this person's going to die. F3 benediction.
Yeah.
Basically. But yeah. So anyway, today I wanted to get you on because this is it fair to say this is your first sort of like one of these sort of almost podcasty situation things?
And this is the first opportunities that I've had since joining up with Team Whiskers to do anything podcasty, which is kind of cool. It's quite exciting for me, actually.
Nice. But really, I wanted to talk to you about a bunch of things. Your experiences. Oh my god, that person has an amazing beard behind us.
I just saw that. Did you see that beard?
Yes.
That was awesome.
That was a cracking beard, and the rest of it worked perfectly. But also predictions and things for the future, because I know that you're interested in the story, aren't you? A little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a lore hound. I've poured over the Encyclopedia Aussies a couple of times.
That's good. So first of all, then, what got you started on Twitch then? And was it always 14, or where did you start with that? And what made you want to stream this game and get in touch with people around the world and
I mean, I'll be honest.
There's
been a whole bunch of incredible content creators, yourself included, who I've always kind of looked up to for things like guides and stuff on YouTube before. And when the kind of pandemic hit in the UK, I was like, well, I'm feeling particularly isolated, and having been locked down in the house and stuff, there's limited kind of people who be online to play games with and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, well, I'm already playing Final Fantasy XIV anyway, so why don't I just stream it and see if I can take part in this community and the streaming community as a whole. So I jumped in, and just I watched a bunch of like videos on how to set up things like OBS and how to kind of.
So this is a recent thing then. You just took a plunge. What, in the last, what was 2 years ago, is it? Or
Yeah, my 1 year stream of anniversary was in June, very recently, June
Holy cow.
14th. Yeah, so I've not really been streaming long in the grand scheme of things, and same with content creation. Really, I've only just started to look at like making content on YouTube as well. But yeah, it's
Nice.
more of a sort of a side thing. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So it was really more of a I'm doing it anyway. I might as well see if I can involve myself with a greater community.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of, you see, so many people ask me, how do I start on YouTube? How do I start on stream? And I'm just like, well, the first hurdle is always pressing go live, isn't it?
Yes,
or pressing record. It's a massive anxiety trip, isn't it? Like it's a huge panic just pressing a button. But once you do press it, it kind of just happens on its own, and then hours disappear.
Yeah, it's true. Like I've had some like incredible streams where people just come and hang about. They say hello. They'll start saying, "Hey, have you considered like I don't know, going off and doing some Chocobo stuff?" Or like, "Hey, could you maybe help me out with this other bit of content?" I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. And then like you say, you look down and like 2 hours have gone by. It's like, I mean, that was cool. Like
it's like my 4 hours, my 4 hours of streaming. Where have they gone? I was planning to do this and this and this. And then you get people raid you as well occasionally, and it's just like, okay, right, better say hello to everyone there. It's amazing how quick things go and how much people in Final Fantasy XIV, other streamers and creators, support each other. I think.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
The main thing I remember when I came to Twitch for the first time, because I've only been streaming for 15 or 16 months now, just over a year myself.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when I first went live, it was incredible the amount of people that I knew were suddenly like, hey, I didn't know you had a Twitch. And then suddenly, it was insane. It really is. And even like the smaller viewed people, it just seems to be interconnected. Everybody just wants to hang out and spread positivity, which is something I've not experienced in another game.
Yeah, it's part of like the wider Final Fantasy ethos, I think, in that way. Final Fantasy, even back in the 11 days, was very much a community driven game. They in FF11 they never like had guides and you couldn't tab out. The whole point of the game then was they focused on in-game interactions, making you make those connections with other people, asking for help. So that's why you always go to the major cities and you'd see lists and lists of shouts saying, hey, can we come and do this content? Hey, can someone help me with this? Yeah. And while 14 has obviously moved away from that, locking you into like a game you couldn't window or minimize so you could look up guides and stuff, it's still there. There's still that community. You can jump into Party Finder and say, hey, I need this clear for the first time, or I want to go farm these birds or whatever, and people be like, yeah, sure, it's great. And that sense of community is also spilled out over into Twitch as well, and into streaming in general. People are keen to just sort of get involved, meet new people, do some content, and yeah, it's that whole wider community. It's great.
And you'd be surprised the amount of people as well. They watch. I mean, me included. We a lot of us watch content creators. Actually, the lesser viewed ones more than we do the bigger viewed ones, simply because it's interesting to see their experiences and their journey. I personally get a massive kick out of watching people's reactions through Heavensward, for example.
Oh, yes.
All of those critical moments that we won't talk about.
There's a whole bunch of creators that I followed when I started on Twitch basically at the same time. I began watching and taking part in the wider culture of Twitch as a whole. And it was always those streamers who were like, first time through Heavensward. They would be the ones that I click on because, as a long-standing veteran who's played through the games up to date with all the content, all the patch content, watching it through and kind of living vicariously through their experiences, going, oh, I remember this, and oh no, and seeing their reaction for the first time, it's just it's
grab
really,
the popcorn.
Really yeah, it's grab the popcorn and be like, oh, you don't know what's coming yet, my sweet summer child.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like a huge passion for this already. Then, like, I don't think many people would be able to. I don't know. A lot of people say that streaming other games is not the same in the slightest, and I think you are right about 14 having this ethos that's based on Final Fantasy XI and that kind of thing. I don't think you find that many other places, but it's also probably the type of game it is as well. Whereas if you were to stream something like World of Warcraft, perhaps you would probably have a lot more back seating on that, and maybe a little bit more
possibly
of a stigma, which is what I've seen recently anyway from people like Asmongold who have mentioned that exact point. So yeah, I think it's a really, really positive sort of thing to do, and I think more people should just bite the bullet and press go live, you know.
Oh, definitely. I've encouraged a couple of my other friends to give it a go as well, and they sort of got involved and like, how easy was it to do? It's like, yeah, it's really easy, and been helping them through their setup of OBS and all that other stuff, and it's like you say, getting over that initial concern and worry of just like, what if no one watches? Like, oh yeah, that's a very genuine sort of thing to do, but again, if you're already part of that community, people will know. It's like, oh, I've seen you in so and so's chat, and they'll come over and support you.
Isn't the trick not to actually worry about the number of people watching, but actually just react the exact same way as if 2,000 people were watching you if there's only like 2 people?
I suppose so. But I mean, when you're starting out, there is a very kind of real worry of like, is anyone actually watching? And it's hard to stream to 0 people, I think, and that can be one of the biggest sort of hurdles to get over. You can't help but think about the numbers when it comes to Twitch and to streaming as a whole, because it's always in the back of your head. Those metrics, on Twitch are there. They reminded. You're reminded of all those sort of things every time you finish a stream. This is you can go access those details and say how many people came and watched, how many people chatted, and it's kind of in your face a little bit, and it can, I suppose, mentally take a bit of a toll on anyone, really. There's been times when I've thought, am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I, is no one actually really bothered to watch? And it's all, I suppose, part of the experience. It's not the nicer side of the experience either sometimes.
Yeah, I think the way I overcame a lot of that myself was simply by realizing, hold on a minute, this is kind of like a way of me archiving things and proving that I've done them to myself, and a way of providing footage for YouTube. That's pretty much how I dealt with it. I was like, okay, hold on a minute. Even the single player Final Fantasy games or whatever else it is that I do a playthrough of, I can just use the add marker feature and just make this into a let's play series and put it on YouTube. And then even if no one ever watches any of this stuff ever, even on YouTube, at least I will have something that I can go back and go, oh yeah, I did play this. And I wish I could like reclaim my first ever experiences in games like Seven and so all the way from my childhood, But I think that's one of the benefits. If you start something like Twitch now, one of the pieces of advice I would give you is don't necessarily see it as like a complete failure if you only get like one person and that's like your other half or something. Use it as a way of archiving, but try and approach it as if you're hosting something that people would be watching. Imagine that there was people there. React to things how you would,
exactly how you would. Not everyone has to be like one of these big hype streamers as well. I'm thinking back to certain moments that happen in Heaven's Ward, like you mentioned before. It's like, I think if I had the option to look back at myself when I played through that content the first time, I think my jaw probably would have hit the floor, and it would have been nice to kind of see those moments. Those moments in later patch content as well, when there's certain big realizations about the plot and about Shadowbringers and some those really big events. I would have loved to have seen what I looked like when I'd done that, and that would have been kind of cool too. And I suppose like if people go into the idea of just streaming on Twitch as a new content creator, I think in the back of their minds, if they're like, well, if I want to kind of make content creation, if I want to take it seriously in any sort of flavor, like you said, archiving that those images and those videos to be able to make a series on YouTube and actually diversifying where that content goes, I think is an incredibly important thing. And I think looking back, if I'd realized this when I started streaming, I probably would have made more of trying to establish a YouTube channel, a YouTube following at the same time. So I think that's I suppose one of the regrets I have about like starting Twitch when I did is like I've not also been looking at things like YouTube or TikTok or whatever else as a means to produce more content, really.
Yeah, cross-pollination of platforms is really the most beneficial way to get the most out of any of this. Being afraid of one type is just not. It's you just might as well give it a go. One of the things I'm looking at personally, which is something I would probably advise to you as well, is to cross into the YouTube Shorts section.
They have started onto a YouTube short here and there. It's I think it's definitely a way to go, because
it is.
I mean, I love. I did a here's my video editing background. I did an A-level in media back in the day, and I learned how to use Adobe Premiere, which I don't anymore. I use DaVinci because it's cheaper and free. And I really enjoyed editing. I really enjoyed just putting things together, and the process of putting together something for like a minute's worth of video is so much like less daunting of a task than it is to make like a 10-minute guide or a half an hour kind of explanation of a rotation something for job classes. I think as a way forward, like YouTube Shorts is definitely one of the ways to go.
Well, you can have those critical moments in your reactions of a playthrough, for example, and then just highlight that on Twitch, clip that, download that, and then upload that as a short. That's what I've seen a few people do, and as long as you put there's like a spoiler connotation, like a couple of black frames where it says spoilers, so people don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so it's like flash up straight away as they're scrolling through.
Some of those are on hundreds of thousands of views on some people's channels, but these are channels that have like 300 subscribers. It's like, okay, this is actually a whole new world to explore. But
I mean, you've been on YouTube for quite some time with the content you're making. Have you seen much of a shift in your content and stuff with shorts?
Recently? Oh, I've not done any shorts personally myself. It's something that I want to dip into definitely now, because there are moments where I think I have the sort of content on my hard drive that would work perfectly for that. Stupid situations and moments that things have gone wrong and stuff like that. Kind of like little clips here and there. I think those would work really well. But
I mean, looking through some of the clips that Team Whiskers now starting to put together of each other's stuff is delicious.
Mean Ivory?
Ivory.
Mostly Ivory. Yeah,
Ivory D's got some. Have you heard about her recent plan to kidnap you? Apparently, that's a thing.
Apparently, that's a thing. That's now canon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's now a thing.
It wasn't just me. It was me and Fran. Apparently,
still.
Oh dear. I was like, I just went into a channel last night. I was like, what if I offer no resistance to this?
I see nothing wrong with this. This is not a problem.
I see no problem here. As long as you have tea, it's fine.
So now we know what we have to put in that little cardboard box that's held up by a stick and a piece of string to get a Meoni and a Fran. Just a bit of tea. Just
better not be Yorkshire tea.
Meoni trap.
No Yorkshire tea.
No.
Disgusting. Get rid of it. Oh dear. Are you a PG tips man, or?
I'm you see, I've gone one further into tea snobbery, and I usually go for like loose leaf brewed tea.
Ooh, have we gone down the Earl Grey route yet?
We've gone way past Earl Grey and lapsang and all that kind of goings.
Nice.
There's a company which we can link or something later, but I've got a command to shout them out. And they do loose leaf tea in various different flavors, and we're not just talking like a little bit of Earl Grey, a bit of lapsang, whatever. It's like this tea is chocolate digestives, and it is like
kidding
drinking.
Me?
Yeah, it's really good.
Wait, chocolate biscuit tea?
Yeah.
This is the best discovery ever. You need to link that to me later.
I will. Yeah, I will link that to you later, and we'll send some custom their way because they are really good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm up for some chocolate biscuit tea. That sounds great. Oh dear. So what? I don't know. What got you into Final Fantasy in general? Then, what was the first game you played?
First one I played way back in the day was FF7.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I think originally I found it on display. I want to say I was on holiday in like France or something with my family, or passing through France or something.
Okay.
We were abroad and we went into a shopping center, and it was the very first reactor mission that was kind of like somebody obviously played through to that point, and then they've been dragged away.
Oh, yeah.
And left it. So I kind of played on it, but I was like, I wonder what this is. And then went back to the UK and eventually got the opportunity to play on that a bit more. And when I realized, like, I actually quite enjoyed this that one time I played. So played through 7. And then every time the next Final Fantasy game came out, that would be the next game that I played. That'd be the thing I get for my birthday or Christmas or whatever, and I'd smash through that. And yeah, like eventually Final Fantasy 11 came out, and then I'd sunk in an extraordinary amount of hours into 11. And I just lamented the fact that I didn't have a machine that was good enough to play 14 when it was first announced. So I missed all of the 1.0 beta. Beta 1.0 playing. I didn't, from what I hear. And then as soon as it was announced that it was going to be re-released on the PS3, I was there. But since then, I'd played every other Final Fantasy title released, with a couple of exceptions. I'm trying to think of some of the ones I haven't done, like 13.3.2. No, 13 Lightning Returns. I think was one that I didn't play.
Lightning Returns doesn't exist. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But I played through 13.2. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. It's good.
10.2, I enjoyed Dress Sphere Simulator. That was cool.
10.2 is an amazing game.
Yeah, I agree. Then we had Tactics. Tactics is an amazing game.
Yep.
War of the Lions. Like, I love that to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Tactics Advance 2. I think I've been well and truly suckered into Square Enix, and most of my spare income goes on Square Enix products in one way or another.
I think that's most of us at this point.
Yeah, I think it is.
My first
even more so that I've also took up the trading card game as well.
Oh no, you haven't.
Yeah, I've been playing that since Opus 1 came out, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Some of those cards are expensive, dude.
Yeah, they are. I do have a couple of choice pieces within the collection, and yeah, like this set that they brought out has got a lot of the Final Fantasy 14 primals in it as well, and they are
nice.
They've definitely warped the game. But what I love about Square Enix and their kind of consistency is a lot of the cards that are now being produced for the trading card game follow exactly what you'd expect of them from the actual game themselves. They maintain their character from like the digital media onto card media, which is really, really nice in terms of their abilities,
in terms of moves and stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. So like, I hats off to Square Enix and the design team, like for keeping the flavor of the game, even though it's in a completely different medium.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty good at that, especially with the spin-offs as well. They've always been pretty faithful, even the weirdest spin-offs.
What's the weirdest spin-off that you can think of?
I don't know, probably Chocobo Racing, or...
I mean, yeah, there's a Chocobo Racing board game as well. That's quite fun.
Oh, actual physical media.
Either, really. I mean, you've also got like the mobile titles as well. You've got like Brave Exvius and a couple of others.
Oh no, I can't stand the mobile stuff, dude. No, I can't do it.
No, I can't. I played a bit of Dissidia Opera Omnia, and I got and Brave Exvius actually, but I got really upset because the gacha element. I was like, yeah, I don't like the idea of trying to pull for a character that I really want and never get it.
My introduction to mobile Final Fantasy, unfortunately, was Record Keeper. And
yes.
I hate that game with a passion. It's horrible. It's horrible. But
bad times.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in Brave Exvius. I see a lot of people say, "Oh, you should try it. You should try it." I'm like, "Nah, my mobile is going to stay clutter free. Thanks. Just going to keep it over there and play games on my consoles or my PC."
Yeah.
But, yeah. Interesting. So, in terms of Final Fantasy 14 right now, then, because you're a bit of a lore nut, we can safely speculate without spoiling anything, because speculation is, I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we all know that the benchmark came out, and there was a lot of bits and pieces in that people were like, well, it's a benchmark. It has nothing to do with anything at all.
I mean,
but
you're right, yeah. But there were some big things in the benchmark.
I mean, there's a certain thing that I was like, is this going to be the new Archaeotania, or is this something more? And that was the giant Omega Mark II.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say it was Omega. Yeah.
If that's not Omega Mark II, I'll eat my hat.
Like, it's where do we go with this? Like, seriously. Final Fantasy XIV in its entirety has been a love letter to the series, like in a lot of different ways, and I can't see them not, involving like it's. I mean, in some ways, it could easily be a love letter to itself in that way as well. It's like, okay, we've done the entire raid series with Omega. Like, what did we like about this? I mean, like as a pair of bosses, like Omega was incredible in what it did. I really enjoyed that raid series. It's like, okay, why not involve this thing that can potentially move dimensions and all this other sort of stuff? Like, it's I
mean, a bit of a speculation at the minute is that it's just going to be a fate boss. And also that this is the Garlean Empire's attempt at recreating what they saw from Omega. It's like their version of it. So it probably doesn't have AI. But yeah, I don't know. It could be something more. I mean,
yeah, they've got the technology. They built Ultima weapons. So what's to say that they haven't had a couple of advances somewhere, especially with maybe some Asian influence who've had some hand in the dawning of the Allegan Empire, and there's lots of different ways that Square Enix can still go with this and still produce an incredible story.
And previous benchmarks, I mean, thinking of it now, didn't we see Titania in the previous benchmark? So
we did.
She was a huge component of the storyline.
Yeah, we also had Yojimbo rock up as well in one of the other benchmarks too.
Good old Jim.
And good old Jim. I do enjoy that
Hildebrand, please.
So I did miss him. I did miss him this time round, and I know there is an appearance of our favourite Inspector. I've yet to see him myself in any of the times I've run that particular piece of content, which is slightly sad. But yeah, like I kind of want more. I kind of want more of that too.
Well, I'm sure he'll probably be on the moon somewhere, right?
Could you imagine?
He finally gets back from a bit of moon rock, his legs poking out.
He gets back from the first after turning up and not really knowing what's going on, and suddenly he's stuck on the moon. Like, do you know what? That is completely in keeping with what Hildebrand will be up to be honest.
Well, I can imagine it now. This is the sort of content that writes itself. You find Hildebrand on the moon. You've got all many reasons why you can A, breathe on there, and B, walk normally. He has none of those reasons, and he just basically is
stumbles into it.
Yeah, he's like, you free him and he starts to float away, and he's like, why can't I breathe, sort of thing. You could, the amount of slapstick humor that you could write into that, which is exactly
throwing
what it
Nashu,
is.
like chucking some bombs around or something, and then suddenly he's explosion. I don't know, whatever.
hopefully we get Hildebrand in Endwalker. Do you think it's a safe bet? With all
I reckon
they've
probably got enough development time later on. Like, because Hildebrand always came towards the end of like major patch sort of stuff in kind of previous iterations. So, and I know they're working flat out to get Endwalker up to speed and stuff ready for release. And obviously, I know they've got 16 on the go as well. But I think that probably will come later down the line. Like, if that's one of the things that I think that I'm probably fingers crossed for most, is just a little bit more Hildebrand, just a little snippet. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So I have a question. Do you think then in Endwalker the moon will be anything more than just one zone that we visit once? Because my big problem at the moment is I'm seeing Charlian. I'm seeing like the stuff around Charlian. I see the fact that there's literally that entire thing underneath Charlian.
Yep.
I see the entirety of Thavnir as like an actual place. I see.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the hub cities, isn't it? Because I see
Razzahan and then in Thavnir.
Yeah, so you're going to have Thavnir is probably or Razzahan is going to be the crafting hub like Yulmore, and then you'll have Charlian as the Crystarium for obviously for the Endwalker kind of flavor of stuff. So everyone ends up in Charlian first. That's, I think, is going to be the place that the Psalm's going to go initially.
There must be some lands there then. There must be some actual zones then.
Yeah, I imagine it's an island state, isn't it? Yeah, so if it's an island, surely there's going to be maybe some zones outside. I imagine it like another kind of version of Idleshire in that way, in that you've got the kind of the base city there, and then you've
in Dravanian,
and then yeah, exactly.
Which is a zone classified as, apparently.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's interesting in itself.
Yeah.
And then I suppose the moon, I thought, I kind of see the moon as being one of those kind of other open world kind of areas itself. So, maybe a zone of its own. Maybe I don't
Which
know how
is
much
really
of the
sad to me. I'm kind of I was under the hope, and I'm still hoping now. Fingers crossed that there's something more than just one thing. But they've got that what's it? Something Lamentum. I can't remember the name of it now. Somebody in the comment section will correct me. Because literally
probably.
the only thing we've seen of it so far is us walking down the side of a crater, but doesn't appear to be anywhere other than just inside that crater with a tower that looks like it was designed by Charlian/Asian stuff. So it just doesn't make me that confident that there'll be like a zone where we fight some moon monsters, which is what I want.
I think we probably will, because they also announced the moon bunnies as well as a beast tribe. Oh, where have you gone?
My game logged out.
Oh, you logged out.
It's fine. Keep going. It's fine.
I've been wiggling my joystick and spinning my camera around just to make sure I don't get. I'm like, don't get logged out on.
It's fine. We got a small queue. We got a small queue. It's fine. Just keep going. It's fine.
Cool. Come back, Meoni.
I'm coming back. 27 in queue.
That's rookie numbers. But no, I think that with the moon, we've got the new beast tribe. We've got the moon bunny beast tribe. They're going to be there. If you take a look at things true. Like if we look at like Ilmeg, where you got the fairies and stuff, you've got like a couple of beast tribes kind of hanging around in those areas. You've got the pixies and the Numo, even though they're not really a beast tribe as such. That's a zone in itself. You've still got Orionje's library. You've got
Orionje's library.
Yeah. So there are places of interest there within the zone that
I guess
make it, somewhere to go and see.
Do you think it'll just be one zone then, just moon?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one zone. I mean, if we take a look at the list of zones we've got for Shadowbringers, I mean, there are quite a few, but there's like some zones have maybe got 2 or 3 teleport places. I look at the Tempest. The Tempest is huge in terms of actual space.
True.
You've got both the upper and lower levels, and it's massive. So potentially we could do something similar with the moon zones as well.
Hopefully. I'm just dreading it being a small little crater, and that's about it. And then everything else being instanced behind cutscenes for like raids or whatever on the moon or dungeons or whatever. But
having a look at, I watched another streamer, name drop Sidnova. She was playing through 6 recently. And I've not played 6. I do own older copies, like PlayStation 1 copies of the games, but I never actually got the time to sit down and play through them. But I watched her play through 6 and go into the moon, and the kind of amount of stuff that was up there, the loads of kind of like underground subterranean places. Like, it's got potential, and they can't just tease something as big as the moon to us and then not like,
Oh, you mean
give
4,
us something
right?
to explore. Oh, sorry, not 6. 6 was terror. Why am I thinking 6?
6 had like the World of Ruin and I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute, I don't remember. That was 4. 4 and 8 were at the moon.
I'm great with Final Fantasy knowledge past 7. Like anything pre like 6 and below, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Roman numerals, how do they work?
Yes. How do VI? How do IVI?
It's a simple mistake, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy IV, I think, is going to be referenced hard.
We've already got the whale mount, so yeah.
True, and we've got the music, the correct music to go with it as well.
True,
which is good. I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be like the whole idea of maybe Zodiac underneath the surface trapped there, because that was the whole idea behind the moon in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not really a spoiler. I mean, it literally says that at the intro of the game. Heidelin couldn't win and sealed him in a rock, right?
Yep, there's a big old rock floating in space.
Yeah, so the moon isn't a normal moon like it is in our universe. In the real world, it's actually a prison.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned I was having a chat to people about the logo for Endwalker, which is obviously the moon, which looks like a donut, as if something is kind of like
there's a hole
out of the middle.
Yeah,
but then you've also got the kind of oblong shaped thing coming off it as well. And I was thinking FF8 reference, Lunatic Pandora, maybe some shenanigans going on there, Luna Cry.
Oh,
maybe.
Well, I called the Luna Cry as soon as they said that there was the moon was glowing red in the storyline. I was like, oh, Luna Cry then.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what happened in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
It just started to like glow, It's like, what's going on? And then through magnification, it was basically a congregation of monsters that turned into a large zit and then exploded towards the planet. And that was the excuse for the latter half of the game having more powerful monsters in the world because they came from a moon. I think that was so good.
Yeah, I thought that was a good try. I liked 8 as a game. I thought it was
my
pretty
favorite.
Good. I know it gets a lot of
games.
a bad rep, but it's like, I suppose, when you start doing time travel plots and things like that, it can get a bit.
They handled it with care, and it worked because the music was so good, the visuals were so good. The storyline made a couple of weird turns, but if you analyze it a little bit, you're like, oh, okay, this does kind of make more sense if you suspend your disbelief just for a little bit. Time compression,
Yes, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Which is always quite difficult in media to get right anyway, so there's not many things that get it right. Not even Star Trek can get that right. So there we go.
True.
It's like, wait, but if this happened, you wouldn't be here talking about this right now because it would have never happened. It's like, oh, but we end up with this after the episode. Oh, I guess everything's back to normal now. You wouldn't even be saying this.
Yeah.
This episode wouldn't exist right now. But there we go.
Can I have that, half an hour, 45 minutes of my life back? Because if it never happens, then,
Yeah,
then it didn't happen.
Oh, dear. Some of the episodes, I mean, I don't want to get onto Star Trek, but like some of the alternate universe stuff was good. Like the in Mirror Darkly and all those ones where it's like the parallel evil versions of stuff. Anyway, back to 14. But so what do you see narratively then being the way we get to the moon and what its purpose would be in terms of both the story and the end game?
Do you know what? At this point, I've got like very little clue. Yeah. I mean, apart from there was a couple of things that happened at the end of 5.3 that again make me think back to 11 in a way, and I think there was a shot of like a tower, like a Tower of the Gods or something. I think is one of the things that they mentioned. Right. And in 11, there's a place called a place that's Eldenarsh and Camlanaut are on about, where they go to Tulia, and Tulia's a floating sky city, and they use that as essentially a light bridge to teleport up into the sky. So I suppose it's not really much of a stretch of an idea that this place in Garlemald has got some sort of access to being able to transport to the moon. So I think maybe some sort of assault on Garlemald.
I was hoping for Ragnarok.
Yeah, you want a big spaceship to fly around in.
I just want us to go over to Garlemald and realize that underneath Garlemald is actually Esfar.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Esfar's been here all this time. And it's like, oh, we have the Lunatic Pandora. Oh, we also have this rocket launching platform. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? And then there's just the Ragnarok sat there. Oh, yes, this is
oh,
for
that's
Meoni,
where you parked it. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, there's the red beast itself.
Well, I mean, that's the great thing is that we can't really at this point in time. We can speculate all we like, but there's literally hundreds of different ways they could go based off all these different homages to all of the previous games that we've had, and that's what's so exciting about it. We, but no clue where they could go with this.
The saddest way to get to the moon, Aetheryte.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah. Oh, we've attuned this Aetheryte to the one on the moon. Guys?
I've just sort of I've had this kind of weird feeling. I feel like I'm attuned somewhere, and I can be pulled up to the moon. And then suddenly it's like, oh, you're automatically attuned to the moon. Right, you can teleport here now. Yeah, exactly.
I'd prefer a portal gun to that.
See, that'd be cool too.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, just a reference to Portal 2.
GLaDOS on the moon.
Yeah.
Hey, that could be the new Palace of the Dead.
Yeah, it was a triumph.
Testing. Yeah, yeah. The cake is a complete lie.
In this case, yes. Oh dear. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. You can look at the previous couple of patches and make a fairly educated sort of idea, but in terms of how things would unfold, that's always the biggest mystery. But I think this time, significantly, it's harder than any other time in 14's history.
Yeah, we've never been off planet before. We've been off onto a different parallel world, But they handled that really well with the Crystal X arc and being summoned across different worlds and stuff. Like, but space travel, like breathing on the moon, those things that you mentioned before, like gravity, like
there was a whole bunch of questions. We're not just going to be blessed by the Kojin, right?
No. I mean, does breathing underwater transfer into not being able to breathe in an atmosphere? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few bits of it. I'm sure they'll explain it within the first 4 seconds. Oh, yeah. Of course we could breathe here. Duh.
Kojin blessing.
Right, Kojin blessing. Right. What about all these people that haven't got it? Well, we forgot about them. Oops.
And bunnies. Moon bunnies can breathe, not oxygen.
Clearly. True. Or maybe there's like an atmosphere on this moon because maybe we're thinking too much like our own moon in reality, whereas this one might have like a 12% atmosphere or something. Although that wouldn't make sense.
It's one of those things that I always used to say to other streamers and stuff going through the story for the first time, and then start asking questions, and then you just have to remind yourself, don't bring logic into this.
Yeah, a wizard did it is the best answer to most
Hammer space, a wizard did a thing, there was a spell, just roll with it. It's cool.
Literally. But I don't know, I'm still going to question it.
Yeah,
especially gravity. It's like, well, you can't grav plate the entire moon.
No.
Unless we get special boots from Tartaru. She's like, I knitted you a special astronaut outfit. I'd be like,
she'd be all over that. Like, yeah, I want a spacesuit. Like that's what I want. I want that as a glam.
Make
like
them when they released the spacesuits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Release the treasure maps, like the lost canals of Space Moon. And then you open a treasure map, you get a portal to the lost canals of Space Moon, and then you get that one item that is mad keen for glamour in the first treasure chest. It's super expensive the first week because everyone's farming it, and it makes a spacesuit. That's what I want to see.
That would be amazing. I would love to just have a bright blue metal spacesuit like out of 8 and just clank around.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I kind of personally want the ability to just have somewhere that's got zero gravity just so I can float around a bit, just to see what it would look like to see your character swim in midair, because they'd use the swimming animation.
Yeah, they would, yeah.
And then have like a recreation of, Renoa basically missing your hand as you try to catch her, that sort of thing. No. Yeah, that would be nice. Or just pictures of you floating in space. That'd be amazing. Just /space float. That needs to be the emote.
That'd be good.
That would be really good.
I want this now.
Yeah.
Can we make it a thing?
We have the power of our own gravity now. We've got flying cars and stuff, so I'm sure it's in the realms of.
It's not a too far a leap. Like you say, they've got the swimming animations already. Maybe that like crater on the moon with the library is a bit like the Kojin city in Stormblood, and you got the bubbles that kind of go out to the sea, and maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's how that area works. I don't know.
The thing I'm looking forward to most, though, about the moon, out of anything else, is all of the pop culture references that are going to be included in stuff like Fates. If there is combat in the area, we're going to have like Space 1999 references. We're going to have all sorts of moon references. We're going to have like the Lunar Cry reference, at least somewhere, even if it's just in a Fate or something. There's just so much. There really is.
Can you imagine the puns? Can you imagine like that? I mean, the game is full of like awesome references and awesome puns all the way through the Fates, through all the missions, through the tooltips. Like I didn't realize that playing the game so long that if you hover over certain sections on the minions thing that you got extra text and stuff like that. Could you imagine all the extra little bits that they can throw in for that? It's just this is why the game is such a delight, because it relates to so many other things, and you can get such a good feel for like nerd culture or different kind of elements of different other cultures. Well, it's great. I love it.
That's why when I play a lot of other MMORPGs, like something comes out and I play it and I'm like, okay, cool. It's got a storyline, it's got cutscenes that are amazing, it's got good character creation, and it's got an end game. But does it have all of the things that add to that, all of the little things? Is there little details in there, little bits of lore? Is there like little lore books randomly? Is there things to read? Is there bits and pieces that it just feels so hollow when I play a lot of other games? The only games I've ever played that have that completely, I think, are World of Warcraft and this game, and slightly ESO, but only because in ESO you can read all of the books.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it is missing little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But there's nothing so well crafted and engineered and passionately, like it's like a painting, isn't it? Like 14 is a canvas, and every little square inch of it has been coloured in.
Yes, exactly. There's so much life and vibrancy in all of the game, and I noticed this when I started leveling this character, because this is my alt character over on the American sort of data centers.
Yeah.
Is that like I started playing
today.
through Adamantois. The playing through the initial A Realm Reborn story, there's so many little like vignettes and things that are going around with NPCs chatting to each other or showing off to each other and stuff, and it's just like the place just feels so alive, and they've carried that on really nicely through a lot of the other zones and a lot of the other areas too, and it just feels it feels like a complete kind of place in that way. There is lore if you want to go hunt it out. There's things happening all the time, even if there isn't anything happening. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's like a typical example is where we are currently in the middle of a city. There's a goblin over there that has his own dialogue and probably is connected to some side quest that I've probably forgotten about. Like that, he's there for a reason. He's furnishing the world with something. And anywhere you look, there are details. Even just stood here, like we have a symbol of a money bag on there. It's a symbol of commerce. So this is the market area. There's little bits. There's the little flags and things. Sometimes that gets omitted from a game or an experience. So I would say that whilst this is, as we say, like a canvas, they're adding layers to it all the time. And a big way of adding layers is to just add more features that not everybody wants to do, like ocean fishing, right? That brings more people to this city-state in particular.
Yes, it does.
Right? But it's completely optional. Some people might hate fishing.
Yep.
But it's there, and it's a completely different piece of content, and it's massively elaborate with the amount of achievements and baits and ways you can do things and mounts and minions.
Same with the Gold Saucer. They provided an in-game fun fair has rewards and if you want to go and do it,
currency. That's the impressive thing.
Yeah. You've got all these tokens that it is like going to an arcade where you put your money in the machine, you play the game, and it spits out tickets, and you go to get the tickets over the counter, and you're like, well, I don't have enough tickets for the giant teddy bear that I want, so I'm just going to go and play some more. And it has the right kind of feel, and they've done an incredible job at managing to put that in a game. And there's loads of different content in there. There's loads of Verminion that I'm sure everybody hates and doesn't do. Chocobo breeding is the big one that I did recently. I spent I think the last 5 or 6 streams that I did.
Yeah, that is something you've been doing lately. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh
my goodness, it was that was painful. But I did it. I got the Chocobo barding. I raced it, and and even that has a callback to FF7. You've got Joe there, who's the Chocobo kind of mini boss there, who's got like one of the best black Chocobos around, who's just like absolutely maxed out stats, and you've got to try and beat him, and it's all that flavor. It's just like
that's so cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Do we think Endwalker will be just adding more of the same? I think the thing is though, whatever they do add, it's going to be something we don't expect.
Yeah, exactly.
We never expect any of these things because it's just like, wait, they've added a what to where?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we've got the writer who's done the Shadowbringer story and the Dark Knight storyline back in to do the main plot for it as well. So we know from what we've already been given already.
Oh, is that
how much of
Ishikawa?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, she has been brought on to do that story too. So we already know how good the writing is for the Dark Knight story, for Endwalker, for Shadowbringer. Sorry. And the kind of twists and turns that we got there, and how many of those jaw drop moments that we got from that, we can expect more of the same in that that amazing quality and that incredible writing, and that is really exciting for me. Amongst all the other features and stuff that we're going to get in the game, that I'm looking forward to, like Island Sanctuary. I am incredibly looking forward to that as a piece of content.
That is literally our next thing about it's as revolutionary as adding the gold saucer or ocean fishing. Actually much bigger than that. It is potentially on paper, we don't know anything about it yet, potentially an answer to the housing problem. Potentially Harvest Moon.
It's the kind of Animal Crossing Stardew Valley kind of slow down pace bit of gaming as well.
Closer to Harvest Moon in terms of like the crops and things.
Yeah, But that's a good thing. Like one of the things that I've been lucky enough in work to be sort of trained as a mental health first aider, and mental health is a big part of my kind of ethos on Twitch. It's, I want to provide a place there for people to come and hang out, just listen, chill out, relax, have some people radio on in the background while they're doing other stuff. They can get involved if they want to, but I think that's something that has been missing in the game a little bit. People have these games like Stardew, Harvest Moon, and all that sort of stuff to have a slower paced game, to take things at their own pace without so much of a kind of a goal in mind. It's just playing for enjoyment and playing for being able to just chill out and relax, and there's no real competition there, but you want to be able to do something and fiddle about. I suppose there is, like, you want to show off your house. I was going
to say Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon and games like that can be very competitive, but it's usually comparing vegetables or like trying to get a chair or something.
But having that slow down pace and just to give you a chance to have something different from the intense concentration you might get from doing raiding and things like that. You want to log on, you want to be involved, you want to have your friends around. It's very much I think it's something that's needed, and a lot. I'm glad that they announced it. I'm glad that it's going to be a feature. I hope that it's going to be all those things that we want it to be.
I need to see it. I just need to see it now, because when they said, "Oh, we're going to have creature breeding and stuff like that," I'm like, whoa, breeding? So the idea, all that popped into my head was Final Fantasy X and the Monster Arena.
Oh no! Ooh. Oh.
I would like that in this game at some point. I don't think it's the right setting for it, but I was like, interesting, capturing monsters and fighting them. I like that. But the breeding aspect could be cool. We could, like, I don't know, make a super horse for no reason. As long as they
super horse.
You know what I'm expecting from this? You breed something enough, right, with the right traits or whatever, kind of like with chocobo breeding. With like your chosen animal, and then you get it as a mount.
Oh, that could be kind of cool. If that was like a reward for or achievement for being able to breed the best cow,
you choose your animal, or camel. You've got a bear, you've got a camel, I don't know, you've got a snake or whatever, and you're like, all right, okay, whatever it is, you've got a choice out of eight creatures. You're like, right, I'm going to keep breeding these with other snakes and see if I can get a big enough one. And then eventually its rank goes up, its rank goes down. You have to feed it certain blends that you can get off of your farm only, and then but you could like trade at a trader's market or something, and then you breed this. Think about it, and then
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so this is
at the end of it, you get a chimera mount because you've bred all these different creatures together into one horrible monstrosity. Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Exactly. So you individually breed these things to the point where it's like, that is the best pedigree ever. Oh, here you go. Here's a quest. Now you too have this rhinoceros as a mount. I don't know, right? And then eventually it's like, oh, you've completed all 8 of these monsters. Oh, well, now breed them all together and see what happens.
It's like I suppose like the mount farming, but on a much more chilled out scale. Like if you finally breed all 8 of these monsters together, you get the big like super mecha chimera. I don't know.
There will be minions at least, and there should be mounts behind this. They need to put mounts, especially when you're doing breeding. That's all that it says to me is okay. Also, what we need is, how we have the melon minion.
Yes.
We need a gourd, we need sweet corn, we need other vegetables and fruits that we raise.
We've grown, yes.
Yeah, but we're growing, and we have like a farmer's market, and every so many weeks or so they do a best in show.
Oh,
and whoever's got the biggest turnip or whatever wins it as a minion.
Amazing. That would be
something
cool.
like that. I don't know. These are ideas.
That links into, then you've got the Twitch and the community angle as well. You get your wider community involved as well. This is incredible. We need to make this a thing. Can we suggest this is a thing? Square Enix, if you're listening, can this be a thing? we want a fair. We want a village fete. We want to be able to bring our vegetables. We want to show them off.
We don't want much. We just want this. But honestly, anything that they touch on from that list, I will be happy on, even if it's just general breeding that gives you an achievement, and then you can, I don't know, or like a quest line that unlocks and you can get a mount from it, a minion. It doesn't have to be 8 or whatever. But I'm just saying that the amount of possibilities with what they've said and how little else they've said is making my mind just go, okay, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want the ability to dye mounts at some point in the future. That would be cool.
That'd be
or like
cool.
get variants. That's the one thing that this game doesn't have. People moan about
variants of minions.
Yeah, or mounts. The color variants. So in World of Warcraft, you have color variants of pretty much every of most mounts. So you get one from a 5-man, one from a raid, and one from I don't know, this like incredibly hard version. And one's green, one's blue, and one's purple. Let's say, or red. It'd be nice to have that in this game where it's like, okay, well, you didn't manage to get this mount because it's impossibly hard to get in a game, but here's a recolor of it, but you could get it through doing this particular mode, or a challenge mode type setting, or give us reasons to go back into content. And I think that stuff like Island Sanctuary and small scale PvP, which we should talk about in a second briefly, is a great option for that. They don't have to necessarily create new things to make everyone happy. They just need to give stuff.
Yes.
Things. Glamour.
Give us
things,
stuff.
anything.
Give us things.
Yeah. Spacesuit, as you mentioned, you know.
Spacesuit, let's go.
That needs to be an Armor Smith recipe. It really does.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. Space crafting. Space master crafting.
Oh, no, not another crafter to level. Oh, no.
no. Space Forge.
I've done pretty well in keeping all my crafters and stuff to up to spec with each of the expansions as they've come out, but I couldn't. Oh, if they added another one, no, thank you.
Do you like PvP?
PvP's one of those things that I would love to maybe get into a little bit more. Maybe not the feast. I've seen I've seen a lot of stuff around the feast with like win trading and all sorts. I think there is I think there are problems with PvP as a whole.
I believe 5 people banned in the last 2 weeks from the leaderboards for win trading.
Ooh, that in itself just puts me off. That's
already.
The thing. It's like I'd rather have a level playing field when it comes to something competitive, especially when there's rewards for the top 100 people or so that get into. Oh, is it top 10, top 100? I can't remember.
Top 100 is usually a mount.
Yeah, like the mounts look incredible. I'd love to have maybe picked some of those up, but but if there's things like that going on, it just instantly puts me off trying to attempt that kind of content.
It means whatever time that you queue and however much effort you put into it, you know for a fact that someone's going to queue at 4 a.m. with 7 other people, and they're going to concede to whichever team is not the one that person's on, and just rack up. That's how it works, and it's just there's not really many ways around it unless they can actively prove it, which thankfully Square Enix seems to have taken some action this time.
Yeah, that's true.
It's quite surprising to see ban actions. I'm not used to seeing it. But I think I've moaned about it enough, and so many other people have as well, that they're finally taking, action against it. Some of the win-loss rates are insane, though. On some of those people.
I've taken part in some of the bigger things like Hidden Gorge and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's fun. I enjoy that.
That's just fun. Like that was great. Doing the Moogle Tombstone event that came up. Yeah, and I was doing PvP in there, and that was kind of cool. I had no idea what was going on. And I really had to rely on what other people was like. Go to the cruise chaser. Don't go for the other thing. Go north, whatever. But it was absolutely hectic. And unless there was there's 1 or 2 people who are absolutely on it and know what's going on, and they're watching the map. And if you didn't have one of them on your team, you're like, oh, I guess this is a loss. Then I'll be fine. I'll just try and wing it. And
So but that's
my experience of PvP mostly.
How do you see small scale PvP working? And do you think that something like small scale PvP inverted commas, since it's going to be replacing the feast for at least a season or 2, or permanently if things go that way, how do you think that's going to fit in? I know we don't really know anything about it, but how small scale do you think they'll do it, and what do you think they'll do to incentivize that?
I don't know. They have. There's the option to do duels and stuff so far, between people. I mean, that's kind of cool in itself that there's the option there to do it. I don't know how much more smaller PvP can kind of go with.
2v2 sort of content?
Maybe 2v2. Yeah, I mean, it's the Feast 3v3 at the minute, isn't it? Was it 2 teams 4? I can't. That's how bad I don't know anything about the Feast as a whole, because I've been generally put off from it. But there's other kind of combat games have done well with small scale events. Like if you have a look at the kind of battle royale first person shooter kind of stuff, like Apex Legends. They've recently released like a 3v3 mode, which has done pretty well compared to the huge battle royale kind of like 50 people of kind of thing that's going on. So it definitely does cater to a certain demographic of people who are after something that way. But still at this early stage, that kind of speculation, I have no idea where they could go with that. They can clearly add more cosmetics and stuff into the wolf marks and stuff, but they already have that. You can already do that at the minute. You can farm up the hidden gorge or whatever, and you can get those really nice looking PvP pieces. I honestly don't know where they would go with that.
I hope that they'd put in previous feast mount rewards as achievement rewards or something from doing so many 2v2 matches or something. But at no point have they ever said that this is going to be conventional PvP. It just says small scale PvP. So for all we know, it could be a card game. I don't know.
Can you imagine like well, I suppose we've already got triple triad. Like,
I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be anything.
Yeah.
Could be us in mech suits from
I would
Hidden Gorge, just 2v2.
Yeah, I think that's what we're missing. We're missing like
horde mode or something.
Well, think about it. They always maybe try to trial certain things in previous expansions and whatever. We did get mecha suits this time around. We did get an entire fight where we were piloting a giant Gundam.
This is true.
So,
and
maybe
they did say
maybe
they wanted to reuse it. Oh, imagine if it's mech versus mech.
Could you Garland Ironworks goes crazy? It's just like, okay, how do we get to the moon? Hey, Warrior of Light, would you mind testing this this suite of combat suits for us against some other Warriors of Light to see if they work? We don't know what's up there. There's maybe some big critters. Can you try these out? Cool, new PvP mode. Let's go.
Just repurpose somewhere like a Coliseum and just have giant Pacific Rim robot duels.
Yes.
Yes,
that's it. It's the one takeaway we get from this video today. It's that we're going to get giant mecha Gundam suits. That's what we're gunning for.
One of you gets to play a sapphire weapon.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear. I like the idea of mecha and fighting and things. I don't know, but it's more likely going to be just normal PvP, but on probably 1v1, 2v2 sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Really, to see I don't know if this is going to be a solution to. I guess you can't. I mean, it'd still be win tradable though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's 2v2, well, any sort of organized play in that way could be incredible, unless it's like completely random. But then, like you say, like if people log on at 4 a.m. when
they just time the queues,
just time the queue right, and it's it's one of those systems that is still open to abuse in that way. So, it's only something they can really deal with after the fact when they start looking at the stats for the games and who's won how many games, who's lost how many games. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is to that one. And I hope they've got something in mind. It would maybe kind of tempt a player like myself in to go and do that kind of content.
The only way around that has ever worked in MOBAs is ELO.
Oh, yeah.
Like matchmaking rating, which would severely screw a lot of things over. But you'd still be able to win trade that to some degree, unless you could only qualify for awards at a certain MMR.
Possibly, yeah.
Which I guess could still be win traded. You just have to get the rating to get to it. And I don't know.
Yeah,
there isn't a solution, is there?
No, I don't. Well, not one that maybe we can cover in this video. Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, I realize I've chewed your ear off for a very long time. It's fun to talk to people. It really is.
Do you know what? I hadn't even noticed how long it's been.
It's been a while. I don't want to keep you all day in case you've got things to do, but. What are your hopes for the future of Final Fantasy XIV, and what are you most reserved or cautious about, both in terms of anything, storyline, gameplay? What do you want the most, and what do you want the least? I think that's the easier way of putting it.
I think the things that I tend to enjoy the most in the game is generally helping people out. One of the ways I do that is through crafting and gathering. So I think as soon as Endwalker comes out, it's going to be that kind of race to get 1, 2, 3 of my crafters up to max level to be able to support, my free company, members of the community, whatever.
Gil.
Gear to, well, I mean, Gil's, I've gone off the idea of Gil. I know that sounds really bizarre, but like, you know, I made my first 100 million and then thought, why am I still making money?
Whoa. You won't be saying that when there's like the chimera monster that you breed, but you have to put down 200 mil for it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Oh, yeah, fair shout. But yeah, like I got to the point of making money from crafting, and I was like, why am I still doing this? And they released they said they're going to add more mounts, the kind of gold reskin color mounts that are kind of like flinging Gil everywhere. And then night, but I'm like, I know you have those. I've seen the videos; they're pretty cool. But at the same time, I'm like, do I really want them? Like,
you do,
no.
yes.
I mean, do I?
It's a Namazu.
I mean, well, yeah, there's the Namazu. I do love the Namazu.
You've got to get the Namazu. The Ronka's passable, I guess.
The Ronka's all right, but then the gold. The gold
Ronka has incredible music to it. It's like an orchestrated version of the theme. It's like a full orchestra version.
I do remember watching the video and you go, I wonder if I'm going to get DMCA'd for this, and then it just got demonetized. I was like, oh, Meoni, bless you.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, most of those videos do, unfortunately.
But yeah, so having a look at the kind of crafting and gathering where they can go with it, I liked what they did with the crystalline mean. And
do you think there'll be a new one of those?
Yeah, I reckon they're going to go with that way. I think I think the pandemic has done a lot for stifling the kind of time they have to work on stuff. And the crystalline mean was a nice workaround. I know it was before pandemic times, but still, I don't think that they necessarily need to have a quest line for every single crafter and gatherer. I think what they did was actually pretty good. And there are ways to continue like leveling up and being in the right kind of flavor for what they're doing. I'm interested to see what they do with some of the later level stuff, like abilities and moves, because like crafting is once you get to the point where you can overload your gear with stats, there's not much, you can macro craft pretty easily.
You can even macro the expert recipes.
You can.
I've got a macro that works.
Are we talking the expert recipes, the ones you need specialists for, or the ones in the firmament where you need to be doing?
Firm.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a macro that works.
Because I went for the Satan the Firmament titles back when they did that, and that was at the time I couldn't macro that like at all.
That's what I macroed for, so I could get my Saint title.
That's incredible. I handcrafted everything for that.
I tried to do that, and then I was like, there must be a way I can find this out, and it's got like a 60% chance to work. Which is pretty good if you think about it.
Yeah, I went ham, did it all by hand, and was had more than a 60% chance. But even then, it was still pretty rough in places. So
the whole thing was rough.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the challenge. Like I enjoyed the challenge of that for crafting and gathering. I like that as again, content that people don't have to do. But we're
are you going to be rebuilding Garlemald then?
I mean, yeah. If Garlemald needs putting back together, I'll take my sewing needle. I'll go and sew some
rocks together.
Sew some rocks together. Yeah. I'll take my frying pan out and cook up a shirt.
Cook up a shirt. Oh dear! No, there's cement that needs to be made, but it has to be made very precisely in a frying pan.
Yes, exactly. It's not. We're not using any of this alchemical shenanigans here. No. We're going to hammer it with a hammer. Maybe saw it with a saw.
Flour, water, concrete. Oh dear. But yeah, so you're mostly looking forward to the crafting stuff then, I guess.
Crafting and gathering. I'm interested to see where they go with that. The Island Sanctuary stuff I think is going to be really good. And yeah, I'm excited to see where Yoshi P and the team leave us at the end of Endwalker, because this is the end of the Hydaelyn Zodiac arc, and people were, when they first announced that it's the end of the arc, people were like, oh no, is this the end of the game? It's like, no, it's not. We're still planned for the next big arc that's going to happen for
well, surely the next plot line will be us exploring our Ascian routes, surely.
I really hope so. I got really excited when a particular symbol appeared on the back of the Paladin shield for the relic.
Which he commented on and said it was a mistake.
It's a coding problem. And I was like, no, why did you do this to me?
And I'm like, wait a minute, that's a very specific error.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But yeah, I go lore hunting for that sort of stuff. There's posts on Twitter. There's I don't remember the name of the creator in in question.
Yeah.
But they've put together like they've taken all the glyphs and stuff from FF12, and you can see glyphs in them, and it's how it relates to so and so, and hunting for clues about our glyph and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. I want to see more. And I mean, we're going to get that with like possibly with Pandemonium and with the exploration of the 12. And all that sort of stuff. That's another thing that I'd like to do, because they've, they were mentioning that very first kind of cutscene that we get for A Realm Reborn when they're trying to put Bahamut back in the hole, back in the moon, and then it's kind of like it's never kind of explored ever again. And I'm interested to see how that fits into the greater kind of mythos of the world of Final Fantasy that we live in. We've got those links between the Zodiac.
We've got a dragon story as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which are literally aliens from another world that we have no idea about. We have a void to explore, but we've just got a void quest that really alluded to us having some other content soon.
We've got there's plenty of places they can go.
Literally,
where are they going to take us first? I guess.
Well, if we get space flight, then the dragon idea would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like to an entirely new world.
Yeah.
Think
about the teleport fees for going off planet. Just to get to Gugane, it was like 1,000 gold every time. And like, oh yeah.
This game really does.
Oh, that's going to cost you like 10 mil. No, thank you.
I think in terms of a Final Fantasy game, this certainly crosses every single genre that you could ever. It's high fantasy, sci-fi, mecha,
steampunk,
cyborg, steampunk.
Yeah, it has something for everybody, and that's what's so good about it.
I don't think even 11 covered that much.
No, I think as far as 11 got, I don't think it went into kind of like steampunk era. I suppose the closest you got was one of the starting cities, Bastok, and they were like the home of the ironworks. So when the ironworks started building airships, that's probably as far as they got. I suppose you kind of get a bit futuristic with one of the cities that kind of like an underwater area. There was like a maze that was down there. That's where Alexander lived, and they kind of went a bit spacey with sea and sky, but not really to the same extent.
Yeah. Would you say that I think 14's kind of like post-Victorian Industrial Revolution, but pre anything else? It's kind of like just after that, like ceruleum is like coal, basically. It's not good. So I think it's a fossil fuel.
It's a very very volatile power source. So it's not something that could have around cities and stuff. I mean, you've seen those like fuel tanks they get in some of the boss fights. They get a quick little knock and suddenly like, oh, we're going to explode now. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, incredibly. So it's kind of, it goes in several directions at once, but tries to maintain that sort of ye oldie thing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's in a strange point in time, and I kind of like it because I've not seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, you don't really mind so much that there's all these different kind of like mishmash of genre in the game. Like you say, you've got that steampunk, you've got the everything else, the kind of late Victorian sort of stuff, and it's like, I'm completely happy with this. This dancer dressed up in like what looks like ninja gear from Metal Gear Solid, next to this person in a very nice a nice smock and a nice holding a parasol. It's like you just don't mind it. It is what it is, and you accept it.
Yeah. I think that the game has a lot of other styles to probably go into as well, so it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, the Crypt Lurker stuff. Did you see? Like, I was impressed with all the kind of Dark Souls kind of flavored stuff that came out at the end of that. I was like, "Yep, didn't see that coming. I appreciate that. I will happily have that as a glam. That's pretty cool."
You know what I think? I think that the people on the dev team, or at least the artists, are like, I think this time around we're just going to randomly put in Bloodborne lookalike stuff.
Yeah.
And then next minute they're like, oh, well, it's kind of reminds me of they've been playing this recently at the weekend, and they're like, I really feel like doing this. And it eventually trickles through, and it's like, wait, I really didn't expect this to be an armor set in this expansion. But I like that, because we never know what to imagine. Like, you could ordinarily in a game predict what Endwalker's gear would look like. You'd be like, oh, well, it's going to be, spacefaring stuff. Not even remotely. Yeah. Look at those artifact sets. They're completely different.
Yeah, they are. They're really. I really like the look of the White Mage one. I might have to like nudge into the White Mage artifact gear when that comes around, because that was pretty sick.
But then, like, the Tombstone gear might have bits and pieces from, I don't know. We could. I'm looking for a spacesuit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the takeaways from this is we want spacesuits.
We want spacesuit. We want mecha PvP, and yeah. But there we go. Right, I think we'll stop now, because we could talk for another 4 hours, I think.
I reckon we probably could.
It's been really, really a massive pleasure having you on.
It's been like really nice of you to have me on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. The pleasure is all mine, though. It's nice to see someone so passionate about the game that we play, and I would definitely love to have you on again. I'm sure there'll be lots of things that are going to come up very soon that we could react to in a big way.
I can't wait. Is it the 17th? I think is the live letter for like the next kind of bit. We should start getting sort of trickle through information by then, surely.
Well, job action stuff, and then after that, at some point in the future, there will be a media tour, isn't there? Apparently,
there is. Yeah.
So that will probably have all of the bits and pieces, like Island Sanctuary and all the rest of it. Probably, I don't know. Maybe bits and pieces of the world.
We're 70 days till Endwalker release now. It's dropped below the 70 mark. It's getting
it's like 67 or something. Yeah.
Exciting times. Exciting.
Anyway, Switch, where can people find you if they want to come and watch you live on your YouTubes and the rest of it? Just plug everything.
Plug everything. My YouTube's is very much in its infancy, and I don't have a link for it yet, but that will be coming soon. But they can, if they want to come and hang out with me, come over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Switch2501. I stream usually 3 days a week with the occasional extra Saturday stream if people are up for it. And I'm over on the Light DC over on Odin if people ever want to come and say hello.
And you're also on Adamantoise, aren't you?
Currently, I'm also on Adamantoise. Yes, my original plan was to have this one over here if DC travel was going to be a problem, and it kind of was for a while. So yeah, hopefully at some point Amber will get retired, bless her, when DC travel comes along. But until then, Amber's over on Adamantoise on Aether.
I can imagine it's going to be quite a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly, but fingers crossed. We don't know.
Anyway, thank you so much, Switch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed this. There will be links in the description to all of the Switcher channels and bits and pieces that we want to share with you. But hopefully people enjoyed this. I'm going to try and get more people on as guests. Somebody did say previously with the highest upvotes, it's like you really need to actually get people to go on this. And I've had quite a few people send me messages asking if they could be on. So I'll try and work through a lot of that. But I do definitely want to feature some content creators more often than not. Probably ones like Switch, who deserve much more viewership than they have, that are fantastic individuals. Yeah. But yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all next time. Do you want to do a bow?
I was going to do a little wavy wave. I can do a bow as well.
Wavy wave. All right, ready? We'll time it this time.
We're waving or are we bowing?
We're going to do a bow.
Okay, hang on.
Ready?
Wait, hang on. Okay, I'm ready.
Right. 3, 2, 1, bow. You see, I left a nice gap so it would work there.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.